Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to your reading for the week of November 10th. We're going to jump right in here as always. You have this wolf card. It says, beware of who you trust. You have this wervin. It says, your secrets are safe. So that's kind of funny. But I would definitely, not share things with people at this time. There's a lot going on, I think, that, kind of makes this true. That you should keep, play your cards close to your chest, to use a cliche or whatever you want to call it. But, it might be a good time to not share things and not talk about things. Yeah, I do feel like if you're dealing with a difficult person or something in your life as well, devil right here, that, it might be a good time to not, kind of engage in that situation, whatever that situation is, right? and just don't feed that fire is what I would say. Be the bigger person if you're dealing with some sort of weird situation. In your current general energies, you have the Queen of Wands, the Four of Pentacles, and the Three of Swords. Queen of Wands is about being bold, assertive, confident, really going for what you want. I do think it would be, as usual, Taurus, I think it would be a good time for you to focus on yourself. You are like the number one sign for readings always being about you. Sure, there's a little bit of love in this reading, but, I think that in a lot of ways the reading is saying that it might be a good week to keep to yourself and kind of like do your own thing. Queen of Wands is my card of kind of, marching to the beat of your own drum and just following your own path and not allowing anything to interfere with what you're doing. And she also doesn't care what anyone thinks. So like I said, if you're dealing with a difficult person, then I would just keep living your life, doing your thing. She has this black cat right here. During the times of tarot, black cats were considered very unlucky, but she doesn't care. That's the whole point of the card, is that she just likes the cat. So just keep liking your cat, right? You have the Four of Pentacles. I feel pretty good about the Four of Pentacles in your reading this week. You also have the Eight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. So sometimes I kind of go back and forth on the Four of Pentacles. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. And, he can be holding on too tightly to the past. But definitely with the King of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles in the good stuff, this would say you're more focused on financial stability or creating financial stability in your life, which of course is a good thing. And yeah, I just think that, it's kind of a little bit of a focus for you this week is, doing something to stabilize your finances, or, with the Eight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, it could also be you doing things to make more money, which of course would be a good thing as well. You have the Three of Swords. It's like, yeah, the Three of Swords is good for healing the heart, and which, definitely as a Taurus you should be doing at this time, especially with Uranus going back into your sign this month. I think taking time to forgive the past or release the past would be a good idea. We have the Ace of Cups right next to it. Ace of Cups is living from your heart. So, obviously if your heart is broken, and that doesn't even have to be from love, that could be from anything, then it can be much harder to heal from the past with the Three of Swords energy. But if you heal that, it can be obviously a good thing. The Three of Swords is also temporary. I do feel like some of you, again, if you're dealing with a difficult person or something this week, I feel this is temporary for sure, and the other thing is that this could be a little bit of a disappointment that I feel, again, if you're dealing with a difficult person, I don't know, sometimes we deal with a difficult person, we think that they're one way, we find out that they are something else, and it's kind of like that disappointing energy that I'm getting off of that Three of Swords energy. So there you go. But let's see where this is going for you. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Six of Cups. Six of Cups is good. Six of Cups is about focusing on your inner child. It's a card of innocence and nostalgia. One thing I will say is, Four of Pentacles can be a little bit playing it a little bit too small. The Eight of Pentacles would be, making bigger moves in your finances. And the reason I say this with the Six of Cups is because she has this like glove on right here. And I always say it's like an oven mitt that she has on her hand. And sometimes I think the Six of Cups can come up when we are, kind of being a little bit too delicate, or we're not taking big enough risks. And, one thing I will say is that, traditional astrology sometimes says that Taurus is like the bull in the china shop, which I disagree with. I think Taurus is the bull in the bullpen, and, Taurus needs to escape the bullpen, as I've said to you before. But sometimes I do think it is good for Taurus to be the bull in the china shop, right? It's like maybe it's a good thing sometimes for you to shake things up and for you to make a bigger impact or make bigger changes in life. And I would encourage you to kind of do that this week. Like, don't be afraid of breaking things. Don't be afraid of not being delicate and, making an impact, right? With the Four of Pentacles, you have the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is curiosity. I am beginning to believe, I should say, that the end of the year here is like a time of discovery. It's just something I've noticed at the end of the year. It seems like people have the opportunity to get answers or to discover how to do things that they've been trying to do that they haven't been able to do. So the Page of Swords is a card of curiosity. And he's a card of like looking into things and looking for things, or looking for answers. So it might be a good week for you to focus on research, like especially any improvements you want to make, any healing that you want to do. Again, I also, like I said, I just get this feeling from this reading that, someone could be trying to bait you into something this week or something. It's like they're trying to piss you off or they're trying to cause a problem. If you have a person like that, I would just completely ignore them, plain and simple. With the Three of Swords, you have the Queen of Cups heart, right? Queen of Cups follows her heart. That's the whole point of the Queen of Cups, is to follow your heart. And she's also one of the most healing cards in the tarot. So anything you can do to heal your heart is obviously what you should be focusing on. With this, Three of Swords, Ace of Cups, even the Knight of Cups, we'll talk about that in a second, would be a really good idea for you to focus on healing. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this angel card. It says divine messenger, guide, and protection. You have this air card. It says movement, intellect, and freedom. So freedom is a big key word for you lately, Taurus. I feel like you are protected with this angel card, but I think that you need to focus on freedom and setting yourself free, especially with your first card. You have the Devil, the Knight of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. The Devil is about setting yourself free from bondage, right? These people are attached to the black box of Saturn here on the Devil card. But those chains, I always say, they kind of like come down to here on their necks. They could easily lift those chains from around their necks. So the Devil can say that we can easily release ourselves from something that's keeping us stuck and bound if we choose to. It's also my card of the Energy Vampire. So, again, the first part of this reading, the rest of the reading is really good. And not that I think this is bad. I feel like this is something that can easily be ignored, right? And that's exactly what I would do. If you're dealing with an Energy Vampire, a person who's sucking the life out of you, I would just act like they don't exist. It's just that simple. I literally feel if you don't give it energy, they will disappear. So that is exactly what I would do with this Devil energy. Now, the other thing about this Devil is I do feel kind of good about this Devil. The Devil can represent, Saturn. Technically the Devil is Saturn in Capricorn, but we do have Saturn retrograde right now in Pisces, and I am getting something here about like discipline because of the Eight of Pentacles. Again, Eight of Pentacles, he is very disciplined. He's working on one thing and he's completing it, right? And so I kind of feel that, it is almost as if this week would be a good week for you to like shut out the world and just stay focused on whatever you're working on, right? I think that having that level of discipline and focus will lead to the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is material success on the horizon. Next, you have the Knight of Cups. I still do feel there could be like a person coming in for you that would be positive. You have the Knight of Cups, which is like a knight in shining armor. At the end of the year here, you have been getting love all of a sudden in your readings. So, again, the Knight of Cups can be a knight in shining armor if you want love. He can also represent planting seeds. He's standing in the desert, and he has this water flowing in front of him, and he needs to plant seeds in front of that water because they will grow. I think I've said to you all year, this is the time that we're in. We are in a time where it might look like what we want to grow can't grow because we're like in a desert. But if we take the first step, if we just do the first thing, then, we will see growth because really there is enough energy. There is like water flowing in front of us, and we just need to kind of like take those steps to make a dream happen with the Knight of Cups. You have the Ace of Cups. So, first things first, of course, healing your heart is going to be very important for you. I always say the Ace of Cups is an action. We have this dove that is dropping the Eucharist into the cup here, and this dove is what's causing the cup to overflow. And so sometimes I feel like the dove is saying that, like, yeah, you have all this water, flowing, but you have to do something to get this to happen. And so I feel for a lot of you, it's like maybe you do know what kind of lights you on fire, right? What gets you excited, what gets you flowing. And those are the activities and the things that I would be doing more of at this time. I've said to other signs as well, we have this like water trine that's happening. And the water trine is very lucky, I feel, for people. But, water trines are all about flow. And the more flow you can create, the better. But again, it doesn't have to be directly related to what you're doing. Again, sometimes I think people want money and they think, oh, I have to work and 24/7 so that I can make this money that I need. But it's like, well, maybe, but also maybe doing like fun things that cause flow is what is going to be the thing that brings you the answers you need to make you money, right? And so I always tell this story that I was stuck in my room for like 4.5 years, for a long time before I started this channel, and I was doing nothing with my life, literally. And it wasn't until I started going and having fun that I got the answers I needed. So, I think that it's critically important that we fill our fun bucket, basically, and do things that we enjoy. With the Devil, you have the King of Wands. Could be a difficult fire sign that you're dealing with here, of course, this week. So if you happen to know the sign of the person, there you go. King of Wands can also be bold, assertive, and confident. So with the Queen of Wands, I think that coming from the perspective of you, it would be a good time for you to be brave, bold, and assertive and confident. These two are also divine counterparts, King and Queen of Wands. So, if you are finding a positive person who isn't an energy vampire, then, obviously this could be a good connection. Could even be a Capricorn with like fire in their chart or something like that. Or, a fire sign with Capricorn in their chart, right? With the Knight of Cups, you have the Two of Swords, needing to see that there are other options, basically. She is a little bit stuck in a stalemate. You might be stuck in a stalemate with yourself, like trying to make a decision on what move to make. But really, she has a third option over here. I always say Two of Swords is my card of third place solutions. So she puts those swords down and heals her heart, right? She's trying to protect her heart with those two swords. The Two of Swords is a little bit tricky because the swords crossing over her heart kind of say that she has to be willing to be vulnerable to be successful in the first place. So sometimes I think we do try to protect ourselves too much. Like if we're trying to be perfect, or if we're not getting started on something until we know every little detail, then that's how we are trying to protect ourselves from getting hurt or whatever. And I kind of feel this is asking you to take a little bit more of a risk. And we even go down to the Six of Wands here. And so, the Six of Wands is a great card of success and good things coming in for you and, all sorts of things. So I feel like there could be an achievement or success coming in here. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Devil again. It's like, I don't know, like I would definitely be careful this week. It's like I feel there's good love here, right? But just because I say something doesn't mean that you should just accept it, right? And so I always say tarot is loose guidance at best. It's like, I think that there could be a person that's very good. There could be a person that's an energy vampire. Some of you might be meeting multiple people this week, and you're going to have to like sift and sort and decide, who's right and who's wrong and, all those other things. So, and one thing I will say is we go up to the Seven of Wands. So, it is Mercury retrograde this week, and, if you're meeting new people, I think it's perfectly fine to date during a retrograde. I think what people need to realize is, like, how it starts is not how it's going to continue to be after the retrograde. That's the thing about retrogrades. We can date during them, but, maybe the person changes. Could be a positive change. I've seen it happen many times. So, it could be a good change that happens. It could become deeper. It could also go the opposite direction, right? So we should probably take our time. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Regeneration card and this Treasure Island card. Yeah, it's a great time for healing for you, obviously. You have the Four of Swords as your first card. Four of Swords is a typical Mercury retrograde card of regeneration, so great thing to be doing. The Treasure Island card is as above, so below. It's almost like you have the Seven of Wands in this row as well, Taurus, and it's almost like once you truly decide deep down inside that there is no other way than for you to accomplish something, then you'll accomplish it, whatever the goal is that you have. And, the Treasure Island card, like I said, is as above, so below. So we have to believe things very, very deeply to be successful. We have to believe things, we have to believe that there is no other way than for us to be successful. And, that's what I would make sure to do here with that Treasure Island card. Also, Taurus, make sure to like and leave a comment. Really helps me out. You have the Four of Swords, the Seven of Wands, and the Six of Wands in the area of messages from your future self. The Four of Swords is resting, relaxing, recovering, of course, and in the same row as that Three of Swords. Obviously, I think it would be a good time for you to do healing. he's like hoping and praying for a blessing. And like, again, I get that feeling of needing to not be afraid of breaking things to get this blessing. It's like the card itself, what I'm trying to spit out here is that the card itself is telling me that you have the vision, like you have the, you know what you want, or at least maybe you're close. And the Four of Swords, it's like now he has to get off that tomb there, and he has to like go and make a move. He has to go do something to manifest the blessing that he's seeing at the top of the card there, or the blessing that he is imagining. You have the Seven of Wands. Again, number one, boundaries, obviously. Seven of Wands is like drawing a line in the sand. Seven of Wands is saying, this is what I'm willing to allow into my life, and anything below this point is not allowed into my life. So, the other thing that this kind of reminds me of, Taurus, is like sometimes I think we can go through something like a relationship and we say, I'm not going to date a person like this anymore. And then what happens? It's like the devil sends someone who is exactly like the last one, right? to tempt you. And I feel like this is saying, don't fall into temptation. Don't go back on something. Don't, it's like we're in a time where the rubber is really meeting the road right now. And I think we have to, kind of push past the points where we would normally kind of give up on something or normally quit something, right? And we have to like really push past it. And that's what I feel like this is saying. It's like my weight has gone up and down over the years. If you've been watching me since the beginning, you've seen it, right? This is like the first time that I've ever actually stuck to my diet, right? This year at 37 years old. And so, it's like I've really made a conscious effort to say, like, no, you can't have pizza, no matter how bad you want it. You can't have ice cream, no matter how bad you want it, right? And so it's and I have finally fallen below the weight that I would normally bounce back up, right? And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because I think we're in a time where it's like we're getting to the level of something that we want, and the universe is like, are you gonna like stick to this? Are you gonna see this thing through to the end? Next year we have Saturn going back into Aries in February. We have to finish something with Saturn and Aries. That's what it wants us to do. So, I feel like this is about, making that 110% commitment. You have the Six of Wands, which is a victory. You can be victorious. You can have this achievement that you are desiring if you want it, if you set your mind to it, and if there is no other way. So I do feel that there could be a victory coming in for you. I really feel this is like a financial victory with the Eight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles showing up here. So a lot of you could be doing things to really improve your finances, which is good. Let's see. With the Four of Swords, you have the Nine of Cups. A wish, right? Like I said, I think you see the blessing with that Four of Swords. It's like maybe you don't have it yet, of course, but it's like you see something that you could create in your life that would be a blessing. And I would definitely focus on that here, Taurus, because I think the universe wants you to do that. The Nine of Cups is kind of like the next step. We have to be in the energy of the blessing to receive it in the first place. And we have to draw boundaries with anything that is the opposite. And so if you really soak up the vibe, I think things will go very well for you. With the Seven of Wands, we have the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles like work hard, play hard. Two of Pentacles can be spinning plates, juggling, doing too much. I do feel everybody is doing too much right now. Again, the big problem I feel is Saturn retrograde in Pisces. I feel Saturn retrograde with Neptune there as well. It's like creating an illusion of time. I think people maybe feel like they're running out of time, or they missed out on something, or don't have time. And so I've really been encouraging people, like this retrograde, I feel is giving us an opportunity to maybe redo something or revisit something that we feel like we missed out on. And so I'm really encouraging people to think about that. If there's like an opportunity you feel like you missed, you have the freaking Emperor right here. The Emperor is the king of taking advantage of opportunity, right? So I think if you have something that you've always wanted to create, like now is the time to start working on it. With the Six of Wands, you have the Queen of Pentacles. We have divine counterparts twice. You clearly could be meeting a divine counterpart. I also wonder if you're meeting multiple people, like I said, for those of you that are looking for love. And, I would really, it's like I wouldn't rush anything. I would be a detective with the Page of Swords. Page of Swords wants you to look at the evidence. It doesn't want you to just fall for someone. It's like any guy out there, by the way, ladies, I will tell you this, any guy out there can read your ridiculous romance novels about whatever, the billionaire werewolf that, you fall in love with or whatever. I don't know, I've seen some weird stuff. And what I would say is any man can read that and he can project that onto you, right? And so Are billionaire playboy werewolf vampires real? Unfortunately, sorry, ladies, no, they're not. They're not real. So if someone comes to you and they act like that, they are probably the frickin' devil. If the evidence is real, if someone backs up the words that they say right here, might not be as exciting as 50 Shades of Grey or whatever, right? You're probably not going to meet this person in a wherever. I don't know where that happened. It was like a frickin' a store, right, where they met or something like that. Then he tied her up in her basement, something, right? That's probably not going to happen. Maybe you could make that happen, right? After you meet a real person who actually tells you, who actually shows you that what they say is true, right? Moving on. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this courthouse card. It says, all legal matters, disputes, contracts, important decisions, balance needed, discoveries, assessment, and taxes. Coming up in the good stuff, so probably good. You have this wealthy man card. It says entrepreneur, financier, charm, career success, ambitious, young man, well-connected, auspicious. This is probably a real, maybe not a billionaire werewolf, but maybe like a millionaire or something like that, right? Someone very successful. But again, you're going to have to look at the evidence. It's like if they're driving a Ferrari, it's like in 2 months, do they still have it or did they rent it, right? This is what we're talking about here. So I think you need to pay attention. I feel this is more talking about your money. You have the Eight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles here. And I think this courthouse card could say that you're, bringing balance to your finances. You have the Emperor, the Eight of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. The Emperor is about spotting opportunity. Again, he has his armor on underneath his cloak. The armor on the Emperor says that he is ready to go at a moment's notice. Whenever an opportunity presents itself, he takes advantage of it and he makes it happen. So I feel for a lot of you that, again, it's almost like you're redoing an opportunity or you're getting another chance at some sort of opportunity that you feel like you missed out on. And quite simply, I would put the work in. You have the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles, straightforward, diligent work. He's just being responsible, diligent. He's working on one thing. He's not working on 900 things at once. So whatever you're working on, it doesn't have to be money either. It could be your health, your wealth, your spirituality, your love life, whatever. I think whatever you want, you should make it a focus and just focus on that one thing because obviously that's where the results are going to come from. You have the King of Pentacles, which is you showing up here, Taurus. Whenever you show up as yourself, kind of puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. So I feel like there could be a lot of success coming in for you here with the King of Pentacles. I also feel that you are focused on wealth building, so I feel a lot of you could be creating a lot more wealth in your life, and obviously that would be good. With the Emperor, you have the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, a lot of people get these readings that say you have to be in the driver's seat. We kind of are in a little bit of a time of leadership. He is taking the lead on the project, and these people are coming in a support position. So it's like if you're working on anything, it's like you need to do it on your own. And, you're coming from this support position, or you need to do things from this support position, which I think would be good. You need from leadership, and the people that help you come from support. I also think it's time to put something on display. We have Pluto in Aquarius, and, this is going to be true for everyone for the next 19 years. It's like if you're going to make an impact, if you're going to do something important, you have to put it out into the world where people can see it. With the Eight of Pentacles, you have the Five of Swords. Yes, cutting everything out, right? Like I said, Five of Swords and the good stuff is about taking a risk. And so, it's going to be good because it's coming up in the good stuff. But I kind of feel like you're just cutting out the noise this week and maybe focusing on one thing, like a project or an opportunity or something, or your health even, or having fun even would be a good one. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups can be like regrets or sadness, but it's coming up again in the good stuff. So the Five of Cups wants us to practice gratitude, and that is exactly what I would do with the Five of Cups. You have this bag. It says something important, such as a new job or a raise. Love it. Definitely could be, again, Eight of Pentacles is just doing your job, and sometimes that works, right? Sometimes that can lead to a red job or a raise. You have this feather card. It says someone you know is undependable and insincere, right? We are this is the person you should clearly avoid. Sometimes we can't avoid people, but we can act like they don't exist. And, maybe there's a person that you work with or a person that you have to deal with. And I would keep it as minimal as possible this week. That's the only warning that you're getting this week. You have this broom. It says new home, new attitude. Yes, every single person has had something this month of November about changing their environment. Look, I changed my environment, right? So for a freaking reason, because the card said so. So, I think anything we can do to, and especially the one thing I will say is that the changes we make should affect us emotionally positively. Like they should make us feel good, or it should have something to do with like how you feel in your environment. And those are the changes I would make. You have this handshake card. It says meeting with a stranger could be important. Yeah, I do feel like you could be. It feels to me like you're meeting a lot of people this week, or that you're dealing with a lot of people. Like I said, I would be a detective, right? I wouldn't be paranoid, but if you meet people, you can take their word, but also look for evidence that their word matches. You have this beetle. It says good fortune. That's what you should focus on, is your fortunes. 8 of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. I would be focusing on whatever you're working on, because that will bring good fortunes in for you. But this looks pretty good, except for the person, but I like it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your week.